I think I love letters because they're very personal. This book was a whole different take on how personal letters can be effective. I read Tiny Beautiful Things, Advice on Love and Life from Dear Sugar by Cheryl Strayed in 2020. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I didn't get what I thought I would get from this book. The title suggests advice on love and life, so I interpreted that to mean that I would receive advice, whereas the epistolary format here allows the reader to review the advice of Dear Sugar as opposed to receiving it. So generally speaking, the book didn't deliver what I had intended. That being said, I really enjoyed the stories and style of everything here. And I'm finding that I super like epistolaries too. I found the full value of reading this was experiencing it as a sort of hard times support group. And not just because the volume of letters going into detail about the specific hard times of different people, but rather the way in which Strayed deals her support. Dear Sugar empathizes in a way that allows us to see that problems are at the same time unique and universal. Her particular style's effect of communicating this dichotomy is wellness. She is direct, forceful, and understanding. Her opinion is delivered both with assertion and love. Not everything in this book meant something to me, but it all matters. I don't think it's a spoiler to say the final letter and response is a brilliant keystone to the collection, and it's worth reading the entirety to get to it. In the middle of the dregs of quarantine, my favorite piece of all of her advice was, the useless days will add up to something. I really like this review because it was completely different than I expected it to be, but I really enjoyed this book. It did have a calming effect on me. I talked about it as a support group kind of thing. Learning that epistolaries are a format that I love is something that I'm coming to in going through all of these reviews. That thing that I mentioned before the review here, that the personal nature of letters and the exploration of the impetus that gets us to write and gets us to take the next step to go out and express ourselves feels very effective and powerful. It takes me to places in a way that narrative fiction does, but connected to real life experience. And I think that's really special. Dear Sugar was a pseudonym for an advice column at the back of a particular publication. This collection of letters to Dear Sugar were people asking for advice. It deals with abuse, it deals with divorce, it deals with grief, it deals with all the kinds of things that are really difficult for us to talk about. What's coming to my head right now is one of my favorite podcasts, Death, Sex, and Money with Anna Sale. The reason why I love that podcast so much is because the concepts of death, sex, and money are the things that we think about all the time, but don't always feel comfortable to talk about. I love the podcast because it delves right into those topics with all different kinds of people. Reading this book was like that, opening up the stories of so many people about those super important topics that are really hard to talk about. That was kind of what I loved here. It was very intimate. The details that I say about the way that Dear Sugar deals out advice was really special. And the fact that it was Cheryl Strayed doing it feels really cool too. Dear Sugar's advice for everyone has that special way of communicating that anyone's problems are both unique to them and universal to everyone. And I think that is so important about advice. Everyone wants to feel like they're special, and everyone also wants to feel like they're not alone. Reading these columns, these questions, these letters, and the advice from Dear Sugar on it made it clear that she was expert in making people feel special and also making them feel not alone. I also like the list of adjectives that I say in terms of what she is delivering here. She's direct, forceful, and understanding, and that her opinion is delivered with both assertion and love. It's awesome. It's powerful. And if I would have read that publication, I think I would have gone to Dear Sugar for some advice too. This period in all of our lives, 2020, was extremely hard, thinking about the pandemic. So reading this book as an experience of a support group where I could see everyone's problems and then reflect on my own as unique and special to me and also universal, something that we were all feeling, was very important at this time of my life. The different advice about relationships and breakups and moving on and moving forward and finding solace were super important to me. I think it's a fantastic book. And everyone else in my network that's read it has given it 5 stars. I'm not exactly sure why I put just 4 stars. I think it was perfect. I think it was a great book. It was Tiny Beautiful Things, Advice on Love and Life from Dear Sugar by Cheryl Strayed. I read it in 2020 and gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I thought it was a self-help book, but it's like when I talked about some of those other self-help books that I find difficulty with, the group that are too direct. This one was indirect, and that made it perfect for me. Till next.